Today we're going to install the MMB hood tilt kit, our part number 2030. The truck we're putting it on already has the hood and the old hinges removed, which is the first step when doing this project. We unboxed the kit and laid it out on the ground to make sure everything was there. And we have the hood upside down and ready to be worked on. Of course, there's plenty of padding underneath it to keep it from getting damaged. To begin, we're going to remove the old stock hood alignment rods. To do this, the bolt holding them on the rear of the hood will have to be removed and the welds on the other end drilled out. If you can't see the welds, you can bend the bracket to crack the paint and reveal where the welds are at. This one is a new reproduction hood and the welds are pretty clearly visible. Once you know where the welds are, you can drill them out however you like. Here we just drilled out halfway to weaken the welds. If you want to drill all the way through, make sure you use a socket or some other standoff to keep the drill bit from hitting the other side. Once we've weakened the welds, we are able to snap the bracket off by bending it back and forth, and then grind the area smooth afterwards. Next, we assemble the framework that goes on the hood. The little black bushings go in the ends of the crossbar on the hinge as shown. We use some of the bolts to help guide them in. You can also see the orientation of the bracket that the crossbar and framework bolt to. Once you bolt them all together, it's time to place it on the hood. Here we have the framework all bolted together and the ends bolted to the location where the stock alignment rods were attached. The other side of the framework is just sitting on the edge of that lip, and we'll need to trim that lip off to get the framework to lay flat so we can bolt it down. We measure the location of the framework ends to make sure they are centered in the hood. From the edge of the hood to the edge of the framework, it's about 6 inches, or about 5 7/8 in this case. Just make sure that both sides are the same distance from the edge. Once you have it in the spot you want it, mark the lip on the hood where you need to cut. Once the framework can lay flat on the edge, make sure you are still centered and drill the holes needed to bolt it into place. Again, use a socket or standoff to keep the drill from hitting the other side. Next, we will bolt on the rollers to the hood. This part is probably the easiest. Now moving to the truck, we bolt one end of the ramp to the cab and the other to the fender. This might need to be trimmed to fit, since the end of the bracket is square and the fenders point at an angle. Then we install the hinge covers. These just slip on and bolt into place. We also installed the ends for the hinge to show where they go. These use one of the existing holes, and the other hole will need to be drilled once you put the crossbar in between them. To install the crossbar, one of the ends needs to be unbolted if they are already attached. You just need to grease up the ends and slip it in. When you put the hood on, it can be done in a few ways. If you have a hoist or a handful of friends, you can hold the hood up in position while you bolt the crossbar to the framework. We only had 2 people and no hoist, so we carefully placed the hood on the rollers and slid it into place. If you do it this way, you can get the front by sliding the hood forward until it sits on the high part of the ramp. This gives you room to get your hands on the crossbar and line up the holes and bolt them into place. This is not the easiest way by far, but it works if you're short-handed and don't have a fancy hood holder. Once we got the front bolted up, we opened it and closed it again to make sure it's lining up with the ramps like it should. Then you can push it back to make sure it closes like it should. As you can see, some aligning is needed as expected. As you will see in the next clip, the large offset on the driver's side can be fixed with that bracket that the framework is bolted to. Here's the bracket that can be used to adjust the distance forward and backwards. The 2 bolts on the top can be loosened and moved as needed. We also put in the prop rod. We used an existing hole on the fender and propped up the hood so that it wouldn't hit the grill, and marked and drilled holes for the holder on the hood. So that concludes our install of the MMB Hood Tilt Kit. Thanks for watching, and as always, you can check us out at mid50.com or call us at 800-252-1956.